NewsBreak26 in Southwest New Brunswick. I'm Vicki Hogarth. Here's what's happening in our part of the world. Kathy Bockus was acclaimed as the Progressive Conservative candidate for Saint Croix in the upcoming by-election this past Saturday at the Garceland Civic Centre. Bockus is no stranger to politics, having worked with the late Honourable Greg Thompson while he was MLA.
What am I going to bring to the table is the experience that I've had as a journalist and the experience that I had the last year that I worked with Greg and with Ministers Urquhart and Mason. I think all roads to now have brought me to this point.
It was a full house at the event with appearances from New Brunswick Southwest MP John Williamson, MLAs from across the province, and Premier Blaine Higgs. The Premier didn't mince his words when we asked him about the Conservatives' need to win in Saint Croix.
Winning this riding is crucial. I think at the beginning I basically said to Kathy that you had to get this done, right? All right.
No question.
But it needs help from the right. But I think it's very important that the residents here understand it. And I did say in my talk that if you like what we've been doing the last year, this isn't about another by-election. Often people can think, oh, well, it's another by-election. It's kind of a flavor whether the government is doing well or not. This is a critical by-election. This is whether we continue or whether we don't.
2 seats in the legislature are currently vacant and awaiting the yet-to-be-scheduled by-elections. The other open seat besides Saint Croix is in Shediac Bay Dieppe that was formerly occupied by Honourable Brian Gallant before he relocated to Toronto this past fall. The Shediac Bay Dieppe riding is notorious for being a Liberal stronghold. New Brunswick's Liberal leader Kevin Vickers is hoping to win a seat in the legislature by running for his party in this riding. That puts serious pressure on the PCs to secure a win in Saint Croix. If the Conservatives can't secure at least 1 seat in the upcoming by-elections, they will no longer hold the most seats in the legislature, which means the balance of power could dramatically shift. That's why all eyes will be on the voters in Saint Croix and the candidates. The competition is already getting fierce, with wildlife biologist Rod Cumberland's nomination convention for the People's Alliance taking place this Saturday at the Garceland. Cumberland has made headlines across the province for his strong stance against the use of glyphosate in New Brunswick forests. He had a loyal following of supporters even before he decided to enter politics for this by-election. Back in October, he appeared on an episode of John Higgins Live on CHCO, where a viewer called in to ask him if he'd consider running for MLA.
And it's not the first time somebody has approached me. Actually, the last election, the Green Party approached me to run for them. So, you know, I'm not, the biggest thing people would have to know is that this guy is not a politician.
Former MP and longtime business professor at NBCC St. Andrews, Karen Ludwig is seeking the Liberal nomination for Saint Croix. Ludwig lost the 2019 federal election to the PC's John Williamson in New Brunswick Southwest, a geographically vast riding that extends beyond Charlotte County to the borders of Fredericton, St. John, and Sussex. Ludwig, however, has a huge support base in St. Andrews and St. Stephen that will no doubt make her a popular candidate in the more localized provincial riding of Saint Croix.
When the proposal came out talking about the closing of the labs in St. Stephen, that really was my tipping point. Because for so many people with chronic diseases, they go in weekly. And, you know, to make that decision, we don't have, you know, consistent, reliable public transportation in Charlotte County. So imagine that the closest hospital for us would actually be St. John. To me, that's unconscionable to even be considering that.
Ludwig and Tony Mann will compete for the Liberal nomination on February 8th at the Garceland. The Green Party and the NDP may soon announce their nominees, but have yet to put any names forward. Once Higgs formally sets a date for the by-election, CHCO plans to conduct lengthy TV interviews with all of the candidates to better acquaint voters with their respective platforms. We look forward to keeping you informed as Saint Croix gets ready to make New Brunswick history. That's all the news I have for you. For more stories and online exclusives, follow us on Facebook at CHCO.TV.
A news and public affairs production of CHCO-TV, New Brunswick's only source for independent community television.